Hello, this is the Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals, where we holistically seek the truth in life using our entrepreneurial spirit. I'm your host, JR Knopp. Welcome, everybody. I'm here with Alika. Did I
Alka.
say that right?
Yeah,
Go ahead
Alka.
and
Yeah.
Alka. Go
Alka,
ahead and all right. Well, go ahead and who are you? What brings you on?
So I am the CEO of Nardi Therapeutics. I'm the CEO and founder, and I founded this company for actually to solve my problem. And I'll give you a little background as to why I came to this. I come from high-tech background. I was working at Microsoft, and then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And I don't know if you or your listeners know, but I'll give a little synthesis of what fibromyalgia is. So
Sure.
fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition. And to people who can't visualize it, it's like having flu all the time. Uh, so you have body aches, you have mental fog, you have fatigue, and you pretty much cannot do anything because you're in pain, that you don't have any energy. And when I was at the height of fibromyalgia or the bottom of my well-being, I couldn't even walk a block. So it was just it just pulls everything out of you. Um, so I was going through all kinds of prescriptions. I was diagnosed about 25 years ago in 20, 2000. So I live with that condition. I still am living with that condition in effect because it is a chronic condition. It doesn't have any cure. So when I started out, like I said, I couldn't even lift a glass of water. I couldn't walk a block. And I was pretty much bedridden because I wasn't able to do anything. I took some time off from my work from Microsoft to take care of myself. And then I went for some Ayurvedic treatments, and that will tie back as to why I formulated the way I did. And that really helped me. And that actually enabled me to be functional enough that I was able to go back to work. Once I was back at work, I worked for another 3 years, and then it was just getting to be too much to juggle my family. I have 3 boys and my work and everything else. So I basically decided to leave and thought I will be back in 6 months after I take care of myself. Well, I wasn't able to go back. And in these years, I have gone through various prescriptions, and most prescriptions had side effects. And the last one I had, I was gaining a pound a week. It was kind of working for my symptoms, but I started gaining a pound a week. So I told my doctor that this, even though it was kind of working, was not sustainable because nobody can afford to gain a pound a week.
Yeah.
And then I would be on Ozempic or something. So anyway, I then got on ibuprofen, and I was taking 2 tablets in the morning and 2 at night. That was taking care of my pain, but really nothing else. I was still fatigued. I still had other symptoms, but it was helping me with my pain. And then after a year, and my doctor had told me that this can affect your kidneys. So I will have to test your kidneys every so often. So after a year, I said, you know what? I think I've damaged my kidneys enough. I'll switch to Tylenol. And Tylenol is not good for your liver. And they say that on the label. These prescription or these medicines are not really meant for everyday use. They are for occasional use when you have a pain or you have injury or something. But I was using 2 in the morning and 2 at night again. And it was helping me with my pain, but not much else. And then I joined a company as in the leadership team that was a hemp company. They were growing hemp. Now, they were not making any of these formulations, but they were growing hemp and they were extracting hemp. So, being in the company, I did research on the effects and uses of CBD. There are 80 uses of the hemp plant, all the way from textiles to furniture and so everything in between. So, after I did the research, I realized that it might be something that I can use for my condition. And so I started, now you can't buy a pure CBD in the local clinics. The cannabis is legal in Washington. So you can go to the clinic dispensaries and buy it, but all of them have THC. That's how they're licensed. So I started ordering some online, and that seemed to have made a difference to my pains. And then this was about 5 years ago. Once I was confident that this will help me, I stopped taking anything else, like any painkiller. And once I was confident that this will help me, then I wanted to formulate something because there were some deficiencies that I didn't like. For example, CBD and CBG formulation, I could buy CBD and CBC formulation I could get, but I could not get a combined formulation of all three. Like if you see, mine has CBD, CBG, CBC. And I'll tell you about the benefits of that and why I wanted to combine them all. The other thing I wanted to do, I had experienced Ayurveda. So I knew the benefits of Ayurveda, which are all plant-based. It's a 5,000-year-old science that was originated in India. And so I wanted to combine kind of the modern with the traditional wisdom. And so I talked to the manufacturer whose products I was buying to see if they would formulate it for me. The formulation with all these three kinds of cannabinoids and Ayurvedic ingredients. And they agreed to do it. So then I went through research. We went through a couple of iterations of the formula. I wanted to make sure it had a good taste. It didn't smell like hemp. And I wanted to make sure that this formulation didn't have any THC. So it has zero THC, which was very important to me because I know a lot of people are not comfortable having THC. And because I had added all these things, there was no requirement for THC. Usually, the companies add THC to CBD formulations is to get the entourage effect. And with this, because I had added all these other things and the minor CBG and CBC, there was no need for THC. So that's how I kind of formulated it. And I want to talk a little bit about the Ayurvedic ingredients that I decided to add to this, but I'll pause if you have anything.
No, I mean yeah, that's amazing. That it's always curious to me how, especially the older generation, comes to find natural botanicals.
Okay.
And it's something I've seen, or at least from my perspective over the years, of big pharma, as I call them, has done a really good job of brainwashing the doctors through the way they teach them. And I don't blame the doctors. This is basically what they're taught. Hey, they have this symptom, you go ahead and give them this, even though this product will kick off a whole other list of symptoms and side effects, which sometimes is worse than the actual problem you're trying to solve. And then they
Exactly.
want to give you another thing and another thing and another thing. And it always seems like to me is they've done a really good job of keeping people just well enough. It's like, we don't
Mm-hmm.
want to cure you. We don't want to fix you completely. We want you just well enough to where you're dependent on something on a regular basis. And and then people are just shocked when they can go to Mother Nature and go, like you were saying, there's been a formula around for probably 5,000 plus years that the Indian people have been taking. And I know, like, if you go a lot of Eastern medicine, like Chinese and some of those Japanese really old herbal, it's not snake oil. It actually works. It's what humans have been doing prior to the last 100 years. It's
Right,
and
right,
it just it boggles my mind how people get so caught up, and especially like what you said with the THC. Like I can understand that, but if you're thinking of like a skin balm or something, in my opinion, I would want the full spectrum of cannabinoids in there because I know there's usually a synergistic effect versus segregating them. And that's kind of another curious question. How did you come across segregating those cannabinoids out of there to formulate the three that you found in your formula?
right. So there's a special purpose for each one of them. I think most people know CBD,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but CBG is for cognitive benefits. So that's what helps you with sleep, stress, anxiety, mental clarity, mental focus. So those are the host of benefits from CBG. And CBC is for pain. Incidentally, CBC is 10,000 more expensive than CBD. CBD costs
Believe it.
$800 a kilo. CBC costs $9,800 a kilo, which is probably why a lot of firms don't use it. But again, by having these three different um, variations, I could get away with having THC in my formulation because I had all the terpenes, I had all the variations in entourage effect by having all these minors. And the other effects that I got, I have in this formulation, I have turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory. I have ginger. I have black cumin, which helps absorbing the formula, the CBD. And the other thing that I have, which is very beneficial, is holy basil, which is also called tulsi, and again is an Ayurvedic ingredient, and that is an adaptogen. What that means, it adapts to your body, to whatever your body needs, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, stress, and so on. So with all this added on to it, to CBD, it really amplified the effect of it. So now for 5 years, I have not even taken any medication, no pharma. And I would say that I'd probably take a Tylenol if I walk 15,000 steps, for example. If we are traveling and I walk 15,000 steps, I might take that. But otherwise, I do not take that on a regular basis. So I'm basically any medication free for my pain, except for this. This I take once a day, every day.
Well, congratulations on that. That's awesome. I love hearing that. I know we find the same benefits with like kratom and a lot of our products, people getting off of big pharma and using a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
And we use some of the same type ingredients sometimes. Black pepper opens up the capillaries, allows a lot of the medicine to go into the system a lot faster in a more
Exactly.
efficient way.
Exactly.
And that's just great. What drove you? I mean, having your medical condition, what was like? How did you get to be with the hemp company? Was that just kind of luck of the draw, or did you go seeking that with the idea of trying to learn more about your condition and try to find something better for it, or was it just kind of a it happened
Um,
that way?
it happened that way. Actually, when I joined that, I had no intention, or I didn't even actually know about CBD, or you could use CBD for medical benefits. It was only I joined the company for, and that was a hemp growing company which was extracting. So basically, they were extracting CBD from the plants, but they were not really formulating any end products. It
Mm,
was during my research because obviously I had to find what I'm working on. And so I did my own research and I said, this seems to be helpful for pain. And so maybe that might help me. And to be frank, I did not give my pharmaceuticals right away. I tried that, saw if it benefits me, and then tapered up and tapered down. So it wasn't that one day I was taking my medication and the next day I was taking my hemp products or CBD products.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get confused on that. It's not, especially when it comes to pharmaceutical, and a lot of them, I hate to say it, are nasty enough to where you cannot just stop them. There's such violent side effects to that, especially like benzos and some of the bigger opioids. You got to taper off them. And I know a lot of people use kratom in that way, especially like with addiction and tapering off, because it will help you naturally reduce. And I tell people that with the kratom, you want to taper it down. Don't just stop, because your body goes into chaos when it stops, and then it exacerbates the initial problem you're trying to stop. It makes it seem worse, then puts you in this negative loop where it's like, oh my God, I can't stop because as soon as I do, this happens. It's like, well, you
Right,
kind of
right,
be smart about it. We got to taper you down and take baby
right,
steps. Not,
right.
like they said,
Right.
Rome wasn't built in a night.
Yeah. And actually, I went through that when I stopped my Tylenol.
Okay.
Um, I had, for 2 weeks, I had excruciating headaches, which would
Mm.
come exactly at 1 o'clock. And so once I realized that was happening, I did all my work that I had to do in the morning and just planned to
You're just
go.
on the clock. You're like, hey, I know I'm gonna hit this wall, so I might as well get as much as I can done before that. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh,
Exactly.
that's yep, yep.
Exactly. So, so what I'm trying to say is that even OTC things have withdrawal if you
Oh
depend on
yeah.
them taking it every day. But and when I wanted to commercialize this, I did all kinds of experimentation on
Okay.
myself. I stopped
Sure.
taking it for a couple of days to see if I have any withdrawal symptoms, if I get pain right away, and so on. And this doesn't it since it works with your body. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
have CB1 and CB2 receptors. It is really structural, and it doesn't. It's not like it's there one day and not gone the next. It stays in your system for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of days, so you have that residual effect um, of taking these formulations. Um, so that's how I kind of then I decided to commercialize it because I saw the benefit, and I know there's a whole lot of people that are suffering with either fibromyalgia or other chronic conditions. As per Sanjay Gupta's new book, there are 51 million people suffering from chronic pain in
Oh
the
yeah.
just.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I decided that if it's been beneficial to me, I think other people might also find benefits from it.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then
yeah.
let me talk a little bit about this. Then I want to talk about one success case that I call a miracle. Now, of course, this is one case, but this one has, first of all, it has 2,400 milligrams of CBD. If a lot of people, when they see this, they say, oh, I went and bought a CBD cream from CVS and it didn't really work for me. And I tell them, go look at the label. Most of them have 300 to 500 milligrams of CBD. And frankly, how much lotion are you going to really put on yourself? So you're getting maybe 1 or 2 grams or maybe 5 milligrams.
Well, and some of that is from my understanding of the industry is some of those are even isolates to where they're not like some of the full spectrum, what I would call full spectrum, or all the cannabinoids in it has a different effect. And
Right,
then, and unfortunately, the industry, there are some bad actors in there, and there are some products out there that say they have CBD in it and absolutely doesn't have any of it. I was at a trade show back in 2018, Champs, which was a big one. It was kind of for the alternative, everything else. Well, and this was right when after it was like, no, it was 2019. So it was right after the Farm Bill passes. So we got a lot of the hemp products coming onto the market that were just fire. And someone went around and tested, and half, I would say, a good half of them didn't have a single bit of CBD in them, and they packed up their shop and left. And it's like when I hear people getting it from like a Walmart or CBD, part of me is like, I I don't even know if they have the CBD in there, let alone if they're just putting that on a label as just to catch your eye and say, here, buy this. So
right,
that's been my experience, at least with that and that
right.
that realm.
And to address that concern, we get it tested by third party. All the lab results are on our website, so we know that the label says what's in the product. It's been tested, it's been verified by third party, and and just to give you a sense of the manufacturing, um, it this is manufactured in Colorado, in a
Okay.
facility, which is totally clean facility. And I asked them if I could visit. They said you could visit, but you will be not allowed in the labs because those are clean rooms. So it's totally. And once they mix the product, they send it to the lab to be
Mm-hmm.
tested,
Mm-hmm.
and and they will not even bottle it once the tests have come back, until the tests come back. So that's how we know that the label actually says what's in the product, and all the COAs, which is certificate of authenticity, are on our website for anybody to check it out. And
Yeah.
not only do we test for what's in the product in terms of labeling, but we test for metals, we test for pesticides, we test for any biomaterials. There are about seven testing, and it's all in the COA that we do to make sure there are no heavy metals, there's no pesticides, there's no residual issues with the product. And so people can be confident that they're buying a pure product, which is being ethically manufactured and sourced. All our ingredients are sourced from the US. Each ingredient is tested when it gets to the lab, because this is a big lab. They don't want to cross contaminate their other products. So they want to make sure that as soon as the ingredients get to the lab, they test it for quality. And then once the formulation is mixed, it's tested again.
Very nice.
So
Yeah, we do a lot of that same stuff in our industry as well, and I know all about the COAs, and it's very important to get that thing tested, and it just adds consumer confidence. How did you get to formulate your own company? What inspired you to go down that route versus just kind of teaming up with another company and saying, "Hey," like what you did in the beginning? What kind of drove you to say, "Hey, I want to do this myself," type situation?
because, first of all, this is a unique formula. It doesn't exist in the industry, especially these combination of these three. Nobody else has it. And this was basically that came out of my experience. And then Ayurvedic additions are also unique to my formulation. So it was a unique formula. And once I realized that it works so well, I wanted to share that with everybody, and that's I kind of made the company.
Nice, nice. And that had to be pretty scary. I mean, just to kind of jump in, or was it just kind of something as like a side project, and then you kind of built it up, and then you said, "Hey, in essence, I'm going to go pro on this and get this all going," or was it something that you just like, you know what, I'm gonna pull the ripcord, I'm jumping in head first, here we go, what method did you
It
choose on
was
that?
all it was all of the above. Um,
A, B, and C, I
Once
gotcha.
I was confident of the formulation that it was working, I basically ordered 1,000 of each.
Mm,
So, and that was a big step because obviously the costs, and I was self-funding it. So, that's a big jump. And the reason I did that is part of it, obviously, if you order more, you get a better price.
sure,
But I was confident that there will be people who need this and will buy it. And so
definitely,
just to close the loop,
sure, sure,
all these products are manufactured in Colorado. They are also my 3PL, which is once the orders come in, they see the orders and they ship it. So it's hands free for me. Um,
okay,
they do all that. So I have all that supply chain, manufacturing, and the shipping, all that, all sorted out.
Nice, nice.
It's,
So you
it's
you went direct to consumer then. So you're just in
exact.
essence drop shipping in a sense, like they order. And now you only through your website, or do you have it in stores and stuff out in Washington?
So I don't have it in the stores. It's mostly through my website, and then a lot of friends and family want to buy it. I have my
Sure,
massage therapist that buys it on wholesale from me because she loves it. Her clients love it, so she sells it to them. And there are repeat buyers, which is
sure,
that's a great thing. So I want to talk a little bit about what's in here, and then I want to
sure.
talk that case that I was talking about. So
Yeah, go ahead.
this one has, of course, shea butter and all that, which
I was just
the
about to ask
beeswax,
you what the foundation products you were using for that. So you're using shea butter,
shea
beeswax.
butter and
Okay.
beeswax, and then of course it has lavender and all that. But the Ayurvedic products that ingredients that I added was arnica, calendula, both anti-inflammatory, ginger, and boswellia. Boswellia, also
Mm.
called incense, that is a strong anti-inflammatory. And then the other thing that I added, which is kind of counterintuitive, is cayenne. Uh,
Yeah, but I know why though. So go ahead and
yeah,
explain. Yeah.
it's for the nerves. It calms your nerves,
Hmm.
actually.
Yeah.
Even though it's hot, and that's why I said it's anti-intuitive, but it calms your nerves. Anybody who's used it has loved this product. It smells great. It doesn't smell like hemp because of all the additions. It smells wonderful because it has lavender, it has calendula, it has arnica and frankincense. All of them have their own pleasant smell. So it smells very earthy, it smells very flowery, and so on.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and
that's awesome.
And then my massage therapist tells me, and this is something that massage therapists would like, that it has a very good slip. And that's what they care about, that it goes
Sure.
on
For
well.
they can massage and they can keep going. Yeah. No, I
Right.
totally get that. We're
Yeah.
actually launching a new product here soon. It's a beef tallow with shea butter, beeswax, and we've got some jojoba oil and some vitamin E, but
Mm-hmm.
I've found that to be just for natural instead of the parabens and stuff and lotion. Using that beef tallow really absorbs to the skin and feels, I mean, it just leaves you feeling great. I found huge benefits for it. And then, yeah, I mean, you've taken it to a whole nother level. But I mean, just it sounds like the products you got in there, you have found a pretty synergistic formula. That how many years did that take you to come up with that? I mean, it sounds like that was well researched, and it might have been a project of yours for a while.
Right, right. So I was researching this. I've always been interested in Ayurveda. I went for my treatment, and
Hmm.
so Ayurvedic ingredients have always been my interest. And frankly, I wanted to do this formulation about 2, 3 years ago, before I did it, and I couldn't find anybody who could combine the CBD and Ayurvedic products. So when I saw that the people I'm working with were doing Ayurvedic ingredients or willing to add them, that's when I went back to them and thought that there was now a solution that I could actually develop combining these two technologies.
Nice, nice. And the Ayurvedic, explain that just so people have a better understanding. And that comes from ancient India, right?
Yeah, it's a 5,000-year-old science, or
Yeah.
which is what people used. Basically, they knew through their own experience which plant has what benefits and when do you use them. Some of them, like you may have heard of ashwagandha, has general benefits. And that's what the tulsi that I said is an adaptogen, it has very many benefits to it. And that again has been used in almost every traditional household, Indian household, to take care of their health. The other thing with Ayurvedic is they're not treating the symptoms. They're treating the whole body. So, so it's not like if you get a fever and you take some product, it'll solve your problems or get your fever out. It really helps you live better. It
Oh yeah.
makes you more productive, more, has um, brain or cognitive benefits in itself. So this is something, and same with Chinese medicine. I mean, they all have ginseng, for example. Their known benefits, they know that through thousands of years of their own knowledge, and that's what Ayurveda is. It has Indian origins, ginseng and all that has Chinese origins, but that's how people didn't have doctors, people didn't have
No.
pharmacists, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
how.
those were the medicine men. Yeah, the medicine women back then. And we've
Right,
actually, a few episodes back, we interviewed an Ayurvedic practitioner. She blends the Western and Eastern, and she uses a lot of CBD and other holistic herbs, and that was her whole approach. And that's what she's finding helping people kind of bridge the gap. She says, "Hey, understand what Western medicine is, but this is more of a holistic medicine. Let's get you on the
right,
right path." And she's helped a lot of people out and explained it. And it's, yeah, those were the original doctors. And I mean, it goes back to
absolutely.
once John Hopkins made those universities to teach the medical practice, he kind of shunned that away and kind of said, no, we want you to go this way, big pharma, because, you know, they could control it better. And I mean, to give them some credence, Mother Nature doesn't make things always the exact same all the time. And it's always tough to get, you know, precise dosing in a sense, but we're also all very different. So what could be precise for someone might not be enough or might be too much for someone else. And especially with herbs, there's at least a lot of what that practice and the older practice, you got thousands of years of trial and error. I mean,
Right.
and from a lot of different people. So it's always interesting, or should I say, be patient in a sense
Yeah.
when trying
And
to understand it.
I think that's where the labs can come in, because they standardize the concentration
Mm-hmm.
and how much is there. If you have a leaf from a plant, that may not have the same amount of ingredients or concentration, but if you have a drop in this bottle, that you can be certain has the what it says on the label it has.
Well,
So
and that's
that,
where yeah, and that's where Big Pharma got all that. They figured out how to extract the main ingredients, and then they found a synthetic way of doing what Mother Nature was already doing. And I mean, we use a lot of extracts in our line of work on our product because we want to make a consistency, like what you're saying. So when we send it to the lab, we know that we're going to get roughly about right in this line, and if it's not, then we can tweak it, and so we can ensure the quality going out to our customers is definitely, it's big in our company. It sounds like it's a passion in yours as well. And
right.
so you've had some good, it sounds like you've been in business for what, 2 3 years now, or how long has this been up and going for you?
For about a year and a half is when I
Okay.
started my website. Yeah. Um, so there's two things more that I don't know how
Sure.
much
Yeah.
that I want to talk about. One is the efficacy testing. So I actually got lab testing, in vitro testing done on this formulation. And the
Okay.
testing was, I knew the effect on me, but I wanted a scientific proof that
Mm-hmm.
it actually works. So I went to a lab and asked them to test it for the pain inflammation cytokines. And the cytokines are proteins that we have, our body has, everybody has it, because it's actually needed in a healthy body, because that's how, when you get injured, that's how the signal is sent to your brain, saying that, this person has injury, this area needs repair. That's how you get a little bit pain, or little bit or a lot of pain on your injury. So your brain knows that this is the area of your body that needs attention, and it'll send white cells and so on to repair that. So we all need those cytokines. But what happens is, in our body, sometimes these cytokines go out of whack. They start producing, which is why sometimes you get a sensation of pain when your body doesn't really need to be painful, because
Mm.
you injury, but your body is still sending signals to your brain that there's pain in the body. And so tested this formulation in vitro to see how those cytokines will be affected. And they're good cytokines and they're bad cytokines. And so the ones that are related to pain and inflammation are IL-6, IL-8, and TNF alpha. And so these particular cytokines are related to pain. And when the results came back, they told me that depending on which cytokine you're looking at, there was a reduction of 38 to 75% in these inflammation cytokines. Well, as soon as I saw it, I said, okay, this proves what I'm feeling, why I'm
Sure.
feeling.
So was
This
that
is
like they did tested like on humans, or how were they getting
no,
there?
no.
Okay.
So there are three kinds of tests. One is in vitro, which is in the lab. The
Okay,
just
okay, yeah. I wanted to clarify that up. Okay, so they were
and
testing it in
then
the lab.
yeah,
Yep.
and the next one would be in vivo, which will be in the rats and all that. And the
Okay.
third one will be human. So I
Okay.
went, and those are the other two studies that I'm trying to get done. But this is the first one. It is the fastest and the cheapest. You don't have to have a sample size of
I
200.
I I was wondering about that. As soon as I was thinking in the back of my head, I was like, were they doing human trial? I think they said something else, but that sounds expensive. Like, woo. And I heard it
Yeah,
takes a long time to even set those up,
yeah,
sometimes way too long, honestly, from
yeah.
I've heard.
I've heard that it can cost anywhere from 100 to 400 million and take up to 7 years to
Yeah.
do human trials. Yes.
Yeah, I think the last I heard it was close to 10 years, but either way, and that's why, yeah, just very interesting. Well, that sounds promising. So you took it in, you got these results, so it was giving you confirmation on what you were feeling through your products, and I'm assuming at this time you've had other people taking it, getting the similar effects.
That's the one case that I want to talk about,
Sure.
and that is there's a 12-year-old girl in Norway that we knew her parents, and she described what her daughter was going through, and nothing was working for her, and so we said, you know what, try this, maybe it'll help, and she heard my story, and so she said, okay, you know what, I have my doctors have given up. They don't think there's anything else they can do. So there's no harm in trying, and it's all plant-based. So at the most, it will not work. It will not be harmful to the body. Um, but she gave it, and let me explain the
Sure.
circumstances.
Sure. Yeah.
Was born with some spinal issues. Her spine
Mm,
didn't form fully. So she had the pains and spasms since birth.
mm.
Now she's not disabled. She can do everything except that when she does anything, uh, her body is in pain or spasms. So she was taking painkiller every 4 hours. She said every 3.5 to 4 hours, I got the pain, so I would take a pain medication. Um, so I said, start with a quarter dropper, and it'll take 5 to 7 days for you to see some effects. First day she called me and her pains had gone. Um, and now she's been taking it for about 6 to 7 weeks. I have to count and see. And she has been pain free. She
Mm.
has no pains. She's not taking any medication, and her pains have gone. Last week I talked to her mom, and she said not only her pains have gone, she can actually do gym now. She can attend classes, and she is more active, more focused. Her
Yes.
anxiety has gone, and her grades are getting better. Now,
Yep.
obviously, the simulation will not get the grades to get better. It doesn't make you more intelligent or anything. But I think if you remove that pains and other hurdles,
Yeah, and you can, I mean, in a book I've written about myself, that was actually one of the things, and it's not for everybody, but something I discovered back in seventh grade is I started smoking actual cannabis, and
mhm.
I had that similar effect. I went from a D minus student. I had trouble paying attention in class. I was always all over the place. started smoking, which was, under that, but started smoking on the weekends. I went from that to being an honor student because it wasn't like I was getting really, it was just calming everything down. Like I explained to people, it's like the world's usually going at 1,000 miles a minute, but then if I can smoke, it just slows everything down to where I can process it at normal speeds, and I could sit in the classroom. I can actually pay attention. And I've heard so
Mhm.
many stories with CBD and different formulations of it helping people with like epilepsy, seizures,
Right, right. For her
ADHD, things
version of
like that.
PhD. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's awesome.
her
That's so awesome.
her case is makes me my resolve more resolve that I can
Oh
help people.
yeah.
You know,
That adds like confidence. Like, yes, I am not just in my own delusion in a sense, not to say there was a delusion, but this is actual reality. This is helping other people. I personally, I'd be even more invigorated. Let's get on top of the mountains and
exactly.
shout this out to everybody.
Exactly. And then to top it all, she was on summer break when she started this. And when she went back to school, one of her friends asked her, "Did you have surgery in the summer? Because you don't seem to be complaining about pains anymore."
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, I mean, that's what we're here for. Help each other out. We're all in this spinning ball running through space together, and the more we can realize it and get on the same thing, we can help each other. There's so much to be
Right.
learned from so many different. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. How can people find you? Where can they go? Where can they look you up at?
Well, so everything is, there's a lot of information, even the study that I mentioned, the COAs, they're all on my website.
Okay.
Nardi.us. I mean, there are essentially two products right now: the oil and the balm. Uh, and we're going to expand the product line as needed. But that's where people can read up about it, look at the quality information, efficacy information, and buy the products right there, and they will get shipped out from Colorado.
Awesome. And so spell that website out for people so they know where to go and find it in case they're just driving along hearing this on a podcast.
Yeah. ANARTI.us.
.us, not .com,
The
.us.
dot com. Yeah,
And
that was another.
they can order, and most of that outside of the THC can be sent to all 50 states, correct?
Yeah, it can be sent to all 50 states because of the Farm Bill, as you know. So this one again has zero THC.
Yes.
This one has 0.1%, and the legal limit is 0.3%.
Three. Yep. You can, so those can all go out to all 50 states. So people, don't be afraid to jump on there and look her up. I mean, this sounds amazing. And maybe you could be one of the stories she can talk about in the future, and you can help some more people out. And I hope some people get a hold of you through this.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you would like to say before we sign off today?
Well, try it out, and there's nothing that is harmful in it. It is fully plant-based, um, and my other person, that the mother of 12-year-old said, she said it's all plant-based, and it can't be the worst it can be is it's not going to work, and if it doesn't work, we have a very good return policy. So there's no harm in trying.
Yes, amen. Mother Nature does it the best, and the more we can get back to that, I think the better we'll be as a people. And I mean, that's one thing I think is kind of proven the big pharma. They've had rain here real bad for the last 40 years, and I think we've been the sickest and most unhealthiest we've ever been. And I think we've
Exactly.
also been the furthest from Mother Nature that we've ever been. And I think we need to get back to that. And it sounds like you've got a great holistic product straight from Mother Nature, comes from a mother herself. You put out there to help. So I appreciate having on the podcast today.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me on the podcast.
yes. Well, all right, everybody. This has been Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals. We'll talk at you later. Have a good one.
Thank you.
This has been the Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find any of our great products, log on to blissfulbotanicals.shop. I hope to see you again soon. Eyes open, no fear. I'm your host, JR Knopp.